On. Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's reading of Srimad Bhagavatam at ISKCON Dublin here on Middle Abbey Street. Welcome everyone. We're continuing where we left off when John finished at verse 14 of chapter 4, Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So before that we recite Srimad Bhagavatam Mahima Stotra Sanatana Goswami. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vidaika Satpalam Sarva Siddhantna Ratnadya Sarva Lokaika Drikpradam. All nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all of the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidvanto Dita Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all of the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali, you are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Patnaya Prema Vakshaksharayate Sarvanda Sarvasivyaya Shri Krishna Namostame. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Madhika Bandhu Mat Sangin Mad Guru Mat Mahadana Mad Nishtaraka Mat Bhagya Madananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Saduta Dain Ati Nicho Chataraka Anamuncha Kadachimam Premna Hritkantayos Puram. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Haribol. Welcome to today's reading. Where we left off, we continue where we left off at text number 14, 2414, translation. Let me offer my respect unto he who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty, and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material, yet he has his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him, because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. Purport. There are two sides of the transcendental manifestations of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. For the pure devotees, he is the constant companion, as in the case of his becoming one of the family members of the Yadu dynasty, or his becoming the friend of Arjuna, or his becoming the associate neighbor of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, as the son of Nanda Yashoda, the friend of Sudama, Sridama, and Madhumangala, or the lover of the damsels of Rajabhumi, etc. That is part of his personal features. And by his impersonal feature, he expands the rays of the Brahma Jyoti, which is limitless and all-pervasive. Part of this all-pervasive Brahma Jyoti, which is compared to the sun rays, is covered by the darkness of the Mahatattva, and this insignificant part is known as the material world. In this material world there are innumerable universes, like the one we can experience, and in each of them there are hundreds of thousands of planets, like the one we are inhabiting. The mundaners are more or less captivated by the unlimited expansion of the rays of the Lord, but the devotees are concerned with more his personal form, from which everything is emanating. Janmadi asyayataha. As the sun rays are concentrated in the sun disk, the Brahma Jyoti is concentrated in Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. The immeasurable spiritual sky is full of spiritual planets named Vaikunthas, far beyond the material sky. The mundaners have insufficient information of even the mundane sky, so what can they think of the spiritual sky? Therefore the mundaners are always far, far away from him. Even if in the future they are able to manufacture some machine whose speed may be accelerated to the velocity of the wind or mind, the mundaners will still be unable to imagine reaching the planets in the spiritual sky. So the Lord and His residential abode will always remain a myth or a mysterious problem. But for the devotees, the Lord will always be available as an associate. In the spiritual sky, the balance is immeasurable. The Lord resides in all the spiritual planets, the innumerable Vaikuntha planets, by expanding His plenary portion along with His liberated devotee associates. But the impersonalists who want to merge in the existence of the Lord are allowed to merge as one of the spiritual sparks of the Brahma Jyoti. They have no qualification to becoming associates of the Lord either in the Vaikuntha planets or in the supreme planet, Vrindavan, described in the Bhagavatam as Mad Dhamma, here in this verse, as Dhamma of the Lord. This Mad Dhamma or Swadhamma is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15:6 as follows: Natat Vasaye Suryo Shanko Napavaka Yadgatna Nivartanti Taddhamma Paramam Mama. The Lord's Swadhamma does not require any sunlight or moonlight or liquid for illumination. That Dhamma or place is supreme, and whoever goes there never comes back to this material world. The Vaikuntha planets, or Vrindavan planet, are all self-illuminating, and the rays scattered by those Swadhamma of the Lord constitute the existence of the Brahma Jyoti. As further in the Vedas like the Mundaka and Shvetashvatara Upanishads, Surya Bhati Nachandra Tarakam Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kuto Yam Amani Tam Eva Bantam Anubhati Sarvam Tasya Saram Idam Vibha. In the Swadhamma of the Lord, there is no need of sun, moon, or stars for illumination, nor is there need of electricity, so what to speak of ignited lamps. On the other hand, are self that all effulgence has become possible, and whatever there is that is dazzling is due to the reflection of that Swadhamma. One who is dazzled by the effulgence of the impersonal Brahma Jyoti cannot know the impersonal transcendence. Upanishad. It is prayed that they shift his dazzling effulgence so that the devotee can see the reality. It is Hiranyamena na satyas syampi dammuham tattvam purusham apavrinum dharmaya drishtaye. Container of everything, both material and spiritual, and everything flourishes by your mercy. Your devotional service or bhakti yoga is the actual principle of all religion, satya dharma, and I am engaged in that service. So kindly protect me by showing your real face. Please therefore remove the veil of your Brahma Jyoti rays so that I can see your form of eternal bliss and knowledge. Text 15. Yeah. Really? Well, I didn't catch. No, it's maybe one page was stuck together, huh? Oh. Oops. That's like a complete, the whole Sanskrit is different. Yeah. Oh no, you are at a different chapter. We did finished pure devotional service. Yes. We are the process of creation.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes.
No, it's good to have these bookmarks in, because I get also, even yesterday's, wasn't sure, I have to check where we are. So yeah, you see, we did this first Hiranyamena Patrana Upanishads. Yeah, we just chapter was confused. It's 50 now, yeah. Sorry. No. Good check. 15. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-auspicious Lord Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. Purport: the sublime form of religious performances to free oneself from all reactions of sins is suggested herein by the greatest authority, Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Kirtanam, or glorifying the Lord, can be performed in very many ways, such as remembering, visiting temples to see the deity, offering prayers in front of the Lord, and hearing recitations of glorification of the Lord, as they are mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam or in the Bhagavad Gita. Kirtanam can be performed both by singing the glories of the Lord in accompaniment. How do you say it?
Yes, you're right.
Just when you say it quickly. Accompaniment. Anyway, somehow like with melodious music, and by recitation of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. If I'm reading too fast,
No.
it's okay. I just don't want to read too fast. The devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord, though they may think of not being associated with Him. The devotional process of chanting, hearing, remembering, etc., either all or some of them, or even one of them, can give us the desired result of associating with the Lord by discharging the transcendental loving service of the Lord in the above manner. Even the very sound of the holy name of Lord or Krishna or Rama can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. We must know definitely that is present wherever such pure transcendental service is performed, and thus the performer of offenseless kirtanam has positive association with the Lord. Similarly, remembrance and prayers also can give us the desired result if they are properly done under expert guidance. One should not concoct forms of devotional service. One may worship the form of the Lord in a temple, or one may impersonally offer the Lord devotional prayers in a mosque or a church. One is sure to get free from the reactions of sins, provided one is very careful about not committing sins willingly in expectation of getting free from the reactions of sins by worshipping in a temple or by offering prayers in the church. This mentality of committing sins willfully on the strength of devotional service is called namno balatyasya hi papa buddhi, and it is the greatest offense in the discharge of devotional service. Hearing, therefore, is essential in order to keep oneself strictly on guard against such pitfalls of sins. And in order to give special stress to the hearing process, the Goswami invokes all auspicious fortune in this matter. Text 16. Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna. The highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences, and without difficulty progress toward spiritual existence. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna has repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. In the last phase of his instruction in the Bhagavad Gita 18, chapter 64 to 66, he instructed most confidentially as follows: Sarva guhya tamam bhuya shrinu me paramam vacha ishtasi me dridamiti uto vakshami te hitam manmana bhava madbhakto matyaji mam namaskuru mamevashyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami ma shuchaham. My dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me, and therefore only for your good I will disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself unto me only, and I promise you full spiritual existence, by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me. Just give up all other ways of religiosity and exclusively surrender unto me, and believe that I will protect you from all your sinful acts, and I shall deliver you. Do not worry anymore. Persons who are intelligent take serious notice of this last Lord. Knowledge of the self is the first step in spiritual realization, which is called confidential knowledge, and a step for realization, which is called more confidential knowledge. The explanation of the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is God realization, and when one naturally, voluntarily becomes a devotee of the Lord to render Him loving, transcendental service. This devotional service to the Lord is always based on God and is distinct from the nature of routine service as yoga. Jnana is for such men of different description, yati dharma, the renounced order of life, controlling the senses, meditation, perfection of mystic power, etc. But one who fully surrenders unto the Lord to render service unto Him, out of spontaneous love for Him, assimilates the essence of all knowledge described in the Vedas. One who adopts this method very skillfully attains perfection of life at once, and this perfection of human life is called Brahma Gati, or the progressive march in spiritual existence. As enunciated by Srila Jiva Goswami on the basis of Vedic assurances, Brahma Gati means to attain a spiritual form as good as that of the Lord, and in that form the liberated living being eternally on one of the spiritual planets situated in the spiritual sky. Attainment of this perfection of life is easily available to a pure devotee of the Lord without his undergoing any difficult method of perfection. Such a devotional life is full of kirtanam, smaranam, ikshanam, etc., as mentioned in the previous verse. One must therefore adopt this simple way of devotional life in order to attain the highest perfection available in any category of the human form of life, in any part of the world. When Lord Brahma met Lord Krishna as a playful child at Vrindavan, he offered him prayer in which he said, Shreyam sitim bhaktim udasyate vibho klishanti ye kevala bodha laptaye tesham asau kleshala eva shishyate nanyatyata stula tushgatinam. Bhagavatam 10:14. Bhakti Yoga is the highest quality of perfection to be achieved by the intelligent person in lieu of a large quantity of spiritual activities. The example cited here is very appropriate. A handful of real paddy is more valuable than heaps of paddy skins without any substance within. Similarly, one should not be attracted by the jugglery of karma kanda or jnana kanda or even the gymnastic performances of yoga. Skillfully should take to the simple performances of kirtanam, smaranam, etc. under a bona fide spiritual master, and without any difficulty attain the highest perfection. 17. Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-auspicious Lord Shri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. Purport. Advancement of a charitable disposition, political, social, or religious leadership, philosophical speculations, the practice of the yoga system, expertise in Vedic rituals, and all similar high qualities in men serve one of perfection only when employed in the service of. Without such dovetailing, such qualities become sources of trouble for people. Everything can be utilized either for its own sense gratification or in the service for one other than itself. Kinds of also, namely personal selfishness and extended selfishness. But there is no qualitative difference between personal and extended selfishness. Theft for personal interest or for the family interest is of the same quality, namely criminal. A thief pleading because of committing theft not for personal interest but for the interest of society or country has never been excused by the established law of any country. We have no knowledge that the self-interest of a living being attains perfection only when such an interest coincides with the interest of the Lord. For example, the interest of maintaining body and soul for maintenance of the body, personal or social. But unless there is God consciousness, unless development, philosophical research, study in the Vedic literature, or even the execution of activities like charity, opening of hospices, and distribution of food grains should be done in relation with the Lord. The aim of all such acts and endeavors must be the pleasure of the Lord and not the satisfaction of any other identity, individual or collective. Samsadir Hari 1-13. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.27, the same principle confirmed, where it is said that whatever we may give in charity and whatever we may observe in austerity must be given over to the Lord or be done on His account only. Leaders of a godless human civilization cannot bring about a fruitful result in all their different attempts at educational and economic development unless they are God conscious. And to become God conscious, one has to hear about the all auspicious Lord, as He is described in literature like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad. 18. Translation. Andhra, Pukasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yavana, members of the Kasa, and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord, due to His being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto Him. Purport. So, Prabhupada explains all the different races here in purport. Kitara. Kirata. Or races, or the areas. Kirata, a province of old Bharatavarsha, Bhishma Parva of Kiratas are known as aboriginal tribes of India. In the modern days, the Saganas in Bihar and Chota Nagpur, the old province named Kirata. Huna, the great area of east part of Russia, is known as the province of the Hunas. Accordingly, it is known as the Huna. Andhra, a province in southern India mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, still extant under the same name. Pulinda in the Mahabharata, the inhabitants of the name Pulinda. This country was conquered by Bhimasena and Saha. The Greeks are known in the Parva of Mahabharata that the non-Vedic race of this part of the world would rule over the world. This Pulinda province was also one of the provinces of Bharata, and the inhabitants were classified amongst the Kshatriya kings. But later on, due to their giving up the Brahminical culture, they were mentioned as mlechas, just as those who are not followers of the Islamic culture are called kafirs, and those who are not followers of the Christian culture are called heathens. Abhira. This name also in the Mahabharata, both in the Sabha and Bhishma. It is mentioned that this province was situated on the river Saraswati in Sindh, extended on the other side of the Arabian Sea, and all the inhabitants were Abhiras. They were under the domination of Maharaj Yudhishthira, and according to the status of Markandeya, the mlechas of this part of the world would also rule over Bharata. Later on, this proved to be true, as in the case of the Pulindas. On behalf of the Pulindas, Alexander the Great conquered India, and on behalf of the Abhiras, Muhammad Ghori conquered India. These Abhiras were also formerly Kshatriyas within the Brahminical culture, but they gave up the connection. Kshatriyas who were afraid of Parashuram and had hidden themselves in the Caucasian hilly regions later on became known. The place they inhabited was known as Abhiradesha. Shumbas or Kankas, inhabitants of the Kanka province of old Bharata mentioned in the Mahabharata. Yavanas. Yavana was the who was given as third rule. There are Yavanas due to being descendants of Maharaj Yavana. The Yavanas were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, by giving up the Brahminical culture, they became Lecha Yavana. Descriptions of the Yavanas are in the Mahabharata, Adiparva. Another prince ruled Turvasu, was also known as Yava, was conquered by Sahadeva, one of the Pandavas. The western Yavana joined with Duryodhana in the battle of Kurukshetra under the pressure of Karna. It is also told that these Yavanas also would conquer India, and it proved to be true. Kasa. The inhabitants of the Kasa are mentioned in the Mahabharata, Drona Parva. Those who have a stunted growth of hair on the upper hip are generally called Khasas. As such, the Khasa are the Mongolians, the Chinese, and others who are so designated. Historical names are different nations of the world. Constantly engaged in sinful acts are all corrigible to the standard of perfect human beings if they take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Jesus Christ and Muhammad, two powerful devotees of the Lord, have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of the globe. Shukadeva Goswami, it appears instead of running a godless nation in the present context of the world situation, if the leadership of affairs is entrusted to the devotee of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under the name and style of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has already been started, they, by the grace of the Almighty Lord, there can be a thorough change of heart in human beings all over the world, because the devotees of the Lord are able authorities to effect such a change by purifying the dust-worn minds of the people in general. The politicians of the world may remain in their respective positions, because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership or diplomatic implications. The devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided by political propaganda, and in seeing that the valuable life of a human being is not spoiled in following a type of civilization which is ultimately doomed. If the politicians therefore would be guided by the good counsel of the devotees, then certainly there would be a great change in the world situation by the purifying propaganda of the devotees. As shown, Shukadeva Goswami began his prayer in the world. So also Anya recommended that simply by glorifying the Lord's holy name, a tremendous change of heart can take place, by which the complete misunderstanding between the human nations created by politicians is extinguished, and of the fire of misunderstanding other prophets will follow. According to the cult of devotion is part in the Lord, even those who are lowborn, or women, Shudras or Vaishyas, and by becoming a devotee everyone is eligible to return home back to Godhead. The only qualification is that one take shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord who has thorough knowledge in the transcendental science of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad bhagavatam. Anyone from any part of the world who becomes well conversant in the science of Krishna becomes a pure devotee and a spiritual master for the general mass of people, and may reclaim them by purification of heart. Though a person be even the most sinful man, he can at once be purified by systematic contact with a pure Vaishnava. A Vaishnava therefore can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without any consideration of caste and creed, and promote him principles to the state who is transcendental to Brahminical culture. The system of Dharma, nor is it now possible to re-establish the function in the context of social revolution. The particular custom of a can be accepted by cult spiritually. There is no hindrance in the transcendental. So by the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult the world, reclaiming all persons willing to the transcendental cult. Don't get afraid. It's not. Don't be afraid. The cult can have wrong connotation or the other. Cult. Cult standing for culture.
Yes.
Not for. Drink poison and you'll be saved.
It's culture.
So accept the transcendental cult. Such cultural propaganda by the will certainly be accepted by all persons who are reasonable and inquisitive, without any particular bias for the custom of the Vaishnava on the justice of the deity of the Lord in a temple as an idol. And to remove all doubts in this connection, Srila Shukadeva Goswami has invoked the blessings of the all-powerful. Prabhavishnavi, the all-powerful Lord, accepts the humble service of his devotees of the Archana. His of the Archana is comma. Okay, I don't have comma. So, in devotional service of the Archana, his form as the worshipful deity in the temple. Similarly, the body of a pure Vaishnava changes transcendently at once when he gives himself up to the service of the Lord and is trained by a qualified Vaishnava. The injunction of Vaishnava regulation in this connection runs as follows: Arche Vishnu Shila Dir Gurushu Nara Matir Vaishnave Jati Buddhir Shri Vishnor Namni Shabda Sanya Buddhi, etc. One should not consider the deity of the Lord as worshipped in a temple to be an idol, nor should one consider the authorized spiritual master or consider a pure Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste, etc. Padma Purana. The conclusion is that the Lord, being all-powerful, can, under any and every circumstance, accept anyone from any part of the world, either personally or through his bona fide manifestation as the spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya accepted many devotees from communities other than the Varnashramites, and he himself declared to teach us that he does not belong to any caste or social order of life, but that he is the eternal servant of the Lord, who maintains the damsels of Vrindavan, Lord Krishna. That is the way of self-realization. And now it ends my reading. Long one. So it's a bit longer. I welcome John. Prabhu?
Sultan.
Sultan.
Hey, he wants. I offered to him. He wants to.
Sultan. Okay. Yes, Sultan is next. You will read from here?
Yeah, oh, I can read from here.
Yeah, if it's you can read from here.
Yeah, I can. This is more comfortable. I like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here.
Thanks.
So welcome, Sultan.
Welcome.
First, well,
yeah.
First time in front of. Yeah. Put this on. So just
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Okay. So, is text 19, translation. He is the super soul and the supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so reverted with awe and veneration, may that Supreme Absolute be pleased with me. So, Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, although the Lord of all followers of different paths of self-realization, is knowable only by those who are above all pretensions. Everyone in searching for eternal peace or eternal life, and with an aim to this destination, everyone is either studying the Vedic scriptures or other religious scriptures, or undergoing severe austerity as empiric philosophers, as mystic yogis, or as unalloyed devotees, etc. But the Supreme Lord is perfectly realized only by the devotees, because they are above all pretensions. Those who are on the path of self-realization are generally classified as kamis, jnanis, yogis, or devotees of the Lord. The kamis, who are much attracted by the fruitive activities of Vedic rituals, are called bhukti kamis, or those who desire material enjoyment. The jnanis, who try to become one with the Supreme by mental speculation, are called mukti kamis, or those who desire liberation from material existence. The mystic yogis, who practice different types of austerities for attainment of 8 kinds of material perfection, and who ultimately meet the Supersoul, who is Paramatma in trance, are called Siddhi Kamis, or those who desire the perfection of being finer than the finest, becoming heavier than the heaviest, getting everything desired, having control over everyone, creating everything liked, etc. All these are abilities of the powerful yogi, but the devotees of the Lord do not want anything like that for self-satisfaction. They want only to serve the Lord, because the Lord is great, and as living entities they are eternally subordinate parts and parcel of the Lord. Parcel of the Lord. The perfect realization of the self by the devotees helps him to become desireless, to desire nothing for his personal self, and thus the devotees are called nishkamis, without any desire. A living entity by his constitutional position cannot be void of all desires. The bhukti kami, mukti kami, and siddhi kami all desire something for personal satisfaction, but the nishkami devotees of the Lord desire everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. They are completely dependent on the orders of the Lord and are always ready to discharge their duty for the satisfaction of the Lord. In the beginning, Arjuna placed himself as one of those who desire self-satisfaction, for he desired not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but to make him desireless. The Lord preached the Bhagavad Gita, in which the ways of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and also Bhakti Yoga were explained. Because Arjuna was without any pretension, he changed his decision and satisfied the Lord by agreeing the fight. Karishye vachanam tava, and thus he became desireless. The example of Brahma and Lord Shiva are specifically cited here because Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, Srimati Lakshmi, and 4 Kumaras, Sangha, Sanatana, etc., are leaders of the 4 desireless Vaishnavas Sampradayas. They are all freed from the pretensions. Srila Jiva Goswami interprets the word Gata Vyalikai as Projihita Haitava Ya, Kaitavaya, or those who are freed from all pretensions, the unalloyed devotees only. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ata Yeva Santa Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Asanta. Those who are after fruitive results for their pious activities, those who desire salvation and identity with the Supreme, and those who desire material perfections of mystic power, are all restless because they want something for themselves. But the devotee is completely peaceful because he has no demand for himself and is always ready to serve the desire of the Lord. The conclusion is therefore that the Lord is for everyone, because no one can achieve the result of his respective desires without his sanction. But as stated by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 8.9, all such results are awarded by him only. For the Lord is Adhisvara, the Lord, the original controller of everyone, namely Vedantis, the great Karma Kandiyas, the great religious leaders, the great performers of austerity, and all who are striving for spiritual advancement. But ultimately he is realized by the pretensionless devotees only. Therefore, special stress is given to the devotional service to the Lord by Srila Shukadeva Goswami. So, Hare Krishna, I will give it to John Prabhu. Thank you for giving me opportunity to read. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Okay. So, text number 20. Translation. May Lord Sri Krishna, who is the worshipable Lord of all devotees, the protector and glory of all the kings like Andaka and Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the director of all sacrifices, and therefore the leader of all living entities, the controller of all intelligence, the proprietor of all planets, spiritual and material, and the supreme incarnation on the earth, the supreme all in all, be merciful upon me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Since Shukdev Goswami is one of the prominent Gata Vyalikas who are freed from all misconceptions, he therefore expresses his own realized perception of Lord Sri Krishna as being the sum total of all perfection, the personality of Godhead. Everyone is seeking the favor of the goddess of fortune, but people do not know that Lord Sri Krishna is the beloved husband of all goddesses of fortune. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that the Lord in his transcendental abode, Goloka Vrindavan, is accustomed to herding the Surabhi cows and is served there by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of fortune. All these goddesses of fortune are manifestations of his transcendental pleasure potency, the Hladini Shakti, in his internal energy. And when the Lord manifested himself on this earth, he partially displayed the activities of his pleasure potency in his Ras Leela, just to attract the conditioned souls, who were all after the phantasmagoria pleasure potency in degraded sex enjoyment. The pure devotees of the Lord, like Shukdev Goswami, who was completely detached from the abominable sex life of the material world, discussed this act of the Lord's pleasure potency certainly not in relation to sex, but to relish a transcendental taste inconceivable to the mundaners who are after sex life. Sex life in the mundane world is the root cause of being conditioned by the shackles of illusion, and certainly Shukdev Goswami was never interested in the sex life of the mundane world. Nor does the manifestation of the Lord's pleasure potency have any connection with such degraded things. Lord Chaitanya was a strict sannyasi, so much so that he did not allow any woman to come near him, not even to bow down and offer respects. He never even heard the prayers of the Deva Dasis offered in the temple of Jagannath, because a sannyasi is forbidden to hear songs sung by the fair sex. Yet even in the rigid position of a sannyasi, he recommended the mode of worship preferred by the gopis of Vrindavan as the topmost loving service possible to be rendered to the Lord. And Srimati Radharani is the principal head of all such goddesses of fortune, and therefore she is the pleasure counterpart of the Lord and is non-different from Krishna. In the Vedic rituals, these are recommendations for performing different types of sacrifice in order to achieve the greatest benefit in life. Such benedictions as the results of performing great sacrifices are, after all, favours given by the goddess of fortune and the Lord. Being the husband or lover of the goddess of fortune is factually the Lord of all sacrifices also. He is the final enjoyer of all kinds of yogya. Therefore, Yogya Pati is another name of Lord Vishnu. It is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita that everything be done for the Yogyapati, Yogyartat Karmanaha, for otherwise one's acts will be the cause of conditioning by the law of material nature. Those who are not freed from all misconceptions, Vyalikam, perform sacrifices to please the minor demigods. But the devotees of the Lord know very well that Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of all performances of sacrifice. Therefore they perform the Sankirtan Yogya, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, which is especially recommended in this age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, performance of other types of sacrifice is not feasible due to insufficient arrangements and inexpert priesthood. We have information from the Bhagavad Gita 3:10-11 that Lord Brahma, after giving rebirth to the conditioned souls within the universe, instructed them to perform sacrifices and to lead a prosperous life. With such sacrificial performances, the conditioned souls will never be in difficulty in keeping body and soul together. Ultimately, they can purify their existence. They will find natural promotion into spiritual existence, the real identity of the living being. A conditioned soul should never give up the practice of sacrifice, charity and austerity in any circumstances. The aim of all such sacrifices is to please the Yogapati, the personality of Godhead. Therefore the Lord is also Prajapati. According to the Katha Upanishad, the one Lord is the leader of the innumerable living entities. The living entities are maintained by the Lord. Eko Bahunam Yo Vedadhati Kaman. The Lord is therefore called the Supreme Bhutabrit, or maintainer of all living entities. Living beings are proportionately endowed with intelligence in terms of their previous activities. All living beings are not equally endowed with the same quality of intelligence, because behind such development of intelligence is the control of the Lord, as declared in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. As Paramatma, Supersoul, the Lord is living in everyone's heart, and from Him only does one's power of remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness flow. Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. One person can sharply remember past activities by the grace of the Lord, while others cannot. One is highly intelligent by the grace of the Lord, and one is a fool by the same control. Therefore the Lord is the Yampati, or the Lord of intelligence. That was big. The conditioned souls strive to become lords of the material world. Everyone is trying to lord it over in material nature by applying his highest degree of intelligence. This misuse of intelligence by the conditioned soul is called madness. One's full intelligence should be applied to get free from the material clutches, but the conditioned soul, due to madness only, engages his full energy and intelligence in sense gratification, and to achieve this end of life he willfully commits all sorts of misdeeds. The result is that instead of attaining an unconditional life of full freedom, the mad conditioned soul is entangled again and again in different types of bondage in material bodies. Everything we see in the material manifestation is but the creation of the Lord. Therefore, he is the real proprietor of everything in the universes. The conditioned soul can enjoy a fragment of this material creation under the control of the Lord, but not self-sufficiently. That is the instruction in the Ishopanishad. One should be satisfied with things awarded by the Lord of the universe. It is out of madness only that one tries to encroach upon another's share of material possessions. The Lord of the universe, out of his causeless mercy upon the conditioned souls, descends by his own energy, Atma Maya, to re-establish the eternal relation of the conditioned souls with him. He instructs all to surrender unto him instead of falsely claiming to be enjoyers for a certain limit under his control. When he so descends, he proves how much greater is his ability to enjoy, and he exhibits his power of enjoyment by, for instance, marrying 16,000 wives at once. The conditioned soul is very proud of becoming the husband of even one wife, but the Lord laughs at this. The intelligent man can know who is the real husband. Factually, the Lord is the husband of all the women in his creation, but a conditioned soul under the control of the Lord feels proud to be the husband of one or two wives. All these qualifications of the different types of pati mentioned in this verse are meant for Lord Sri Krishna, and Shukdev Goswami has therefore especially mentioned the pati and gati of the Yadu dynasty. The members of the Yadu dynasty knew that Lord Sri Krishna is everything, and all of them intended to return to Lord Krishna after he had finished his transcendental pastimes on the earth. The Yadu dynasty was annihilated by the will of the Lord because its members had to return home with the Lord. The annihilation of the Yadu dynasty was a material show created by the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, the Lord and the members of the Yadu dynasty are all eternal associates. The Lord is therefore the guide of all devotees, and as such, Shukdev Goswami offered him due respects with love-laden feelings. Now, we've just reached 7:30.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, I have to go catch my bus fairly soon. So, until next Wednesday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna.